Convincing someone to love you is exhausting. And it doesn't work. So, why do we do this? Why do some of us do this? Why have I done this in the past? How do you find out that you are doing this? I know it sounds painfully obvious, but a lot of us get stuck in the situation where we are trying to convince someone of how great we are, of how we could be a perfect match, or how we're meant to be, when none of those things are true. And when this person does not see that or see you that way. So, first and foremost, I want to say it's a hard situation, and I think most people have been in the situation of unrequited love, and there are definite ways to see when you're in that situation, and I want to kind of go into that, and hopefully this is really helpful for you. Because none of us really want to waste our time, even though we do, on people who just don't see our value, really, unfortunately, as much as we all have. And it is inherent. Our value is inherent. It's not, it's there whether or not someone sees it, you know. So I guess the first question is, why would we want to be with someone who doesn't see our value? And that's something we need to ask ourselves, because I think when we are able to get into that space, we can start there and see why this really isn't fulfilling and why we need to move on quickly. Because when we see our value and understand what we're worth, why would we want to entertain someone who isn't into us? And the first thing I'll do is, the very first book I remember reading that kind of was freeing, and it's an older one, is He's Just Not That Into You. And it can resonate across the board, no matter what your orientation is, or your gender, or any of that. Like, I think that it kind of puts out there how, and it is specific to heterosexual men, but I think that in all relationships we can tell whether or not someone is into us. I mean, there's also Matthew Hussey, who is a really wonderful coach, and I'm sure a lot of people know who he is, talks about test and invest, or invest and test, and that is to, put a little something out there and see what comes back, and see if there is a forward volley and momentum. So I think I see this a lot with people, and I just want to say the reason that I did start doing these videos is because I have been asked for my advice by several people on dating, relationships, and also I was recently told by my counselor that my insights could be really helpful to others. So I have decided, that's why I've decided to do this segment on my channel. And who knows, I have so much to say on the subject. And I also think that because I'm going through the situation of dating, I mean, right now I'm on a bit of a break, but because I'm in this, I can go through this. We can kind of go through this together, which I find amazing. So when I say convincing someone to love you is exhausting and it doesn't work, I think that we all kind of know that, but like we still do it. Why? Because we might really, maybe we haven't been excited about anyone in a long time, and this person comes along and they're dynamic and amazing, and and then we're like, well, they're willing to give this, but they're not willing to give full out. And you want somebody who's in that space with you more. And it might take a little bit of time, but it really doesn't take a lot before you can see whether or not somebody's in or out. And sometimes things will, I think the faster things progress in general, when things progress really fast, a lot of times they fizzle out really fast over like a little bit more of a slow burn. However, I will say, I want to go into how you can tell if you're convincing somebody, or, yeah, I think that's really it. We all kind of know, and the reason I suggested the book, He's Just Not That Into You, is because it talks about how simple it is to see when someone's not into you. So, I've had a few friends over the years who tell me about, and here's the thing, it's not like I'm above this. I've done this too. Like, I think most people have been in this situation. What is it that you're doing? And where is this gap? So, how can you tell if you're convincing someone? Are you making all the plans? Are you always the first one texting? When you text, are you in the blue or green? Which is something that, Matthew Hussey would talk about. Now, some people aren't great texters, and they're not really into that. And I would also suggest that most of your interactions are going to be in-person interactions. Now, but what I'm talking about is, they give a 1 or 2 word text, and then you write a novel, and their response is cool, or you haven't heard from them, and you get a what's up late at night, or something like that, or even they take a long time to respond to your text. And a long time, in my opinion, is like more than a day, or like if they've been busy, or if you notice that in the beginning, like maybe, I don't know, you had like a kind of a regular text volley, and then all of a sudden it starts falling off, and like you just don't hear from them that much. They used to text you between like right on, where you guys would have a back and forth text exchange, it's to like a couple of hours, like something that's or whatever, and then all of a sudden it becomes like days or something. To me, that's a sign of that. There's not a lot of reciprocal energy in the texting or conversations. They're not doing much. You always maybe have to go to their side of town, or you are pushing forward to go to their side of town. You're doing everything. Like, you're the one initiating everything. It really needs to be a back and forth volley. This is how we can tell that we might be convincing somebody. These are the first things. I would say something that's really, really helpful is to, if you're a list person, you're going to love this. Because I think making a list, a hard copy of what's going on, like writing that down, being like, oh, I noticed that they don't text great. I'm asking to make plans, then they're kind of dodgy about it. Like, they'll say, oh yeah, that sounds great, but then they never nail anything down and you kind of have to push it forward. That's not a good feeling. It's not a good feeling. And, like, I had this person who kept kind of like reaching out and saying, hey, yeah, I'm going to have some time next week to get together. But then they would never, like, put anything together or, like, put a date together on when they could actually hang out. And I just noticed that they were kind of just looking for this momentary connection, but never really anything solid. And so I just stopped talking to them. At some point, I ended up blocking their number because it was just getting dumb. I was just like, I don't understand why this person keeps reaching out other than they're just looking to see if I'm still around. And if you feel like that, I definitely would suggest either having a conversation with them and saying, hey, this isn't going anywhere, or just don't. If they kind of leave it, you can just leave it too. I don't even think that's not even really ghosting at that point. That's just not, just let it go. But I think these lists really, you can see it in black and white, or whatever color pen you like, purple and white, whatever. You can see what is happening. And then, like with what I said with Matthew Hussey saying, invest in test. So, put something out there, and then see what the reaction is. Put out, hey, if you have gone out on a few dates or something with them and you enjoyed it, and you could say, hey, I really enjoyed the 2 dates we had. What do you think about seeing each other again? And if they've been busy or they're a shot, no, I'll say something about being busy in just a moment. Or they're kind of more of a shy person, they're going to come back and say, oh yeah, definitely, I would love to. And then they're going to say, what's your availability? Or, I'm available these days, what could work? I'd really like to go to dinner, or I'd really like to go to this place. Or if they know you like museums, like, oh, maybe we could hit this museum or something. And then you can go from there, and that's reciprocal energy, right? If you're not seeing that, and you're being like, they're kind of like, oh yeah, it was great seeing you. Yeah, I'd like to get together sometime. And then they don't say anything or, like, come up with an idea. That's, no. And the other thing that I would say that is really valuable that you can do is think about what you would say if someone told you about all of this behavior that you're receiving from this person. If your best friend told you, your sister told you, your brother told you, your acquaintance told you, whatever. If someone told you that you like or that you care about, a coworker, anybody told you how this person was acting in the situation, what would you say to them if they were asking your advice? Now, maybe this isn't, ask the person who would give you the truth, too. That's the other thing. Because some people sugarcoat things. I don't. If someone asked me what I thought of this situation, I would say this person is pretty wishy-washy, and you may want to consider backing off and letting them take the lead. That's the other thing too. Just back off and see what if they come forward. And I know some people will say, oh, you're not being upfront or whatever. And that's another thing you can do. I mean, I've done that too, and then I see things end quickly. And, you come forward in a way that's very, straightforward, not pushy, but you can say, hey, I noticed that, that we were texting a lot and it kind of fell off. Are you busy these days? What's going on with you? Are you still interested in dating? And, some people would say don't even say that, and that's up to you. I think sometimes it's worth it, especially if you've been dating for a while. And other times, it's probably not worth it. And I would say usually when you see that much of a shift in energy, it may not be worth it, but sometimes people will be like, oh, geez, I can't treat this person this way, and this person's going to move on if I don't, step up the game and then give them a chance to do that. And if they don't, then move on, because we don't want to be convincing someone of anything. You want them to think you are the damn lottery, like you are. You're a big deal. You're great. You're all these wonderful things. And if you're not, then cultivate that in yourself and be that for yourself, and be the best version of yourself. Get into the things you like. Be somebody who has their own life. Don't cancel plans with your friends or things that have. If this person tries to put you in this last minute situation and you already had plans, or you're doing something like you have a dentist appointment or you have a doctor's appointment or you're going out with friends, you don't cancel those plans because Mr. or Mrs. Cool texts you at the last minute and wants to go out with you. No, you say, oh, I need a little bit more notice on that. I already have plans. I would love to see you, so maybe we can make plans for next week, or I'm available A, B, and C, and then see where that goes. So this video is a little bit shorter. Let me know in the comments if this is valuable, or if you have any other suggestions or tips on this subject. I love to hear that. Other people who watch these kinds of videos, they're always looking for stuff too. I'll go ahead and put in the show notes. He's just not that into you. It's kind of a fun read. And it's kind of liberating. I'll also put Matthew Hussey's channel in below if you haven't already heard of him. He has a lot of valuable information around dating. This is not one of those. I'm not somebody who is into playing the game of how to get him back or any of that, because I think if someone's already kind of out, you don't want to play that game, Just make sure they're kind of in to begin with, and that they are reciprocating, and you're not convincing someone to like you, love you, want to date you. If you're there, you've already lost. Believe me, you've already lost. So I hope this helps you position yourself in a way that's empowering, and you don't feel like you're ever convincing someone to be with you, because you're great and you don't need to convince anyone. All right. Hope this is helpful, and I will see you next time. Bye.